What's happening? How's everybody doing? Welcome. Thanks for joining us again for a late night edition of AM Dynasty. Appreciate having you here this time and every time. We haven't been on in a little while, and this one right here, we're going to be real brief. Thanks for joining. This is AM Dynasty, the podcast session, and this time we're going live on YouTube as well as our Patreon channel and other various platforms. This AM Dynasty podcast is also going to be on the audio platforms, a multitude, over 10 audio podcast platforms as well. So thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We do have our co-host here, Jessica. Jessica from Embrace. Jessica from Embrace. How you doing there, Jessica?
I'm doing fine. How are you this lovely evening?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for joining us once again. Definitely appreciate having you here. Like I said, I'm going to be really brief. I wanted to go on live really briefly and talk about how my weekend went. Had a great weekend. This weekend is, I guess, a lot of Juneteenth celebrations going on across the country, as well as out here in the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, and the whole Bay Area. And this weekend, there was actually a Juneteenth celebration event in Hayward at the park. Yeah, so I went to it, me and a couple of friends of mine, and we went there and had a really good time. I had a great time. There was lots of black vendors, lots of black businesses. There was black horseback riders, looked like a mother and son was out there on some huge horses, and the people was just all us city folk was just really loving it, taking pictures with this pretty sister and her son. I'm guessing it was her son, on horses. They had live bands, music, blues, jazz, things of that nature, and I just really had a good time. Especially saw it as an opportunity to support some other black businesses, which I did. I really enjoyed it. So I just think that was a really special thing. And I noticed a couple of things, just a few things I want to talk about in regards to events like this, these summertime Juneteenth events, and celebrating, honoring, and supporting black businesses, primarily us supporting us. And wanted to kind of know your thoughts. Did you get out, enjoy any of the Juneteenth weekend? You are the owner of Embrace, another black business that's doing really well right now. What's your thoughts on supporting black people, us supporting our businesses, and just Juneteenth weekend celebrations? Tell me a little bit about what you think about um, these events and our businesses, Jessica.
Well, you know, I enjoy these events. I actually attend them myself. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to attend a Juneteenth event, but I do enjoy, attending pop-up events in general. So I have looked at a few throughout the Bay Area, especially the ones that are Oakland.
Yeah.
Those seem like they will be fun to attend.
Yeah.
I love it all. I think they're great. I think that I love that we have a place that we can just go in and set up, and we can make a little business profit as black businesses.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. It was one thing I noticed, and it was something I really liked, is there were a lot of black people there supporting Black businesses. There was a lot of support there as far as of course, it was everybody. I'm in the Bay Area, so the Bay Area is pretty much, a melting pot. All the different ethnicities grew up around each other out here, so everybody supports each other pretty much in their business. To be honest with you, I actually left that event and went to a Latin event where they had a different types of Latin food as well. But it was actually very good to see as far as this Juneteenth event, to see so many of us supporting our businesses. That was one thing that kind of stuck out, and just like, man, it's been a while, getting to this point where society's kind of back open again. And now society's back open. Myself, I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I no longer have a job, but just over broke. I now have a businesses, and I'm trying to work from that side of the spectrum. So things look a little bit different from this side, having a legitimate business and working at it, and to see so many of us supporting our businesses, it was just a really good vibes. I definitely appreciated that, especially during a time where they're talking about reparations to Black people. It's like those type of gatherings. It like bring us closer together. And I'm looking at the power of the dollar, just for that one moment in time, staying inside the community. So much money exchanged hands. That was just black on black dollar, not black on black crime, but a black on black dollar. And I gotta
That's
say,
definitely a huge positive.
it's a huge positive. I really can't even put words on it in the way that I felt. I know other societies and communities that are around the country, for the few or very variety of Black cities that are out there with us, they get to feel that all the time. But it's not so much out here in the Bay Area and California in general. So to be able to kind of feel that vibe, you got the Black music going on. You got and that's the other thing that I saw there. There were like the BART. The BART is like the train system out here. You had the BART system, who was there represented at this event, talking about all the strides and the programs that they had going on to assist Black people, whether it's from people just riding the BART to how to get discounts. And I walked smooth up there talking about, hey, what do you guys have to assist us, Black businesses? And they were talking about how some of the recent legislation was passed, where some of that money, where some of the quote fat cats will spread the wealth to Black businesses like mines, set aside money for prime or subcontractors. There was also, this was in the city of Hayward. Thought whoever organized that did a great job. They had a booth with the Hayward police station. I don't know if they was talking about. Didn't go by there, but I did walk by it. Had a soccer team that was represented there. I guess it's talking about soccer because Oakland has a professional soccer team now called the Souls. Lots of Black food vendors. What else was it? It was other city services, parks and recreation, and other city services, where I know that they were talking. They had where they was basically discussing what programs or things set asides or certain things that they had specifically for us, our culture. And I thought that was really, really great. That's something, especially now that I'm a business owner, looking at things from that side is really interesting, because I'm definitely all about where's the set aside money, where's the stuff from us for us, especially in regards to where commerce, business, and local government combine. Now that I know a lot more than I previously knew about how business and commerce combines, I was really interested to see, oh, look at all these little booths. And when I saw these booths, it reminded me of years ago when I would see things like that. I really wouldn't, I had a different perspective than what I have now. Now I go up to them and I say, hey, what is set aside money for small businesses? Where's the set aside programs for just the local people, for us? And knowing that they're in at these events, especially Juneteenth, Black events, they have answers for you. There is things out there that you probably wouldn't know otherwise, and that's why they're at those events to talk about, hey, here's some set aside money. Here's some other programs that's for our culture in this regard. And so I thought that that was really interesting and definitely much needed. Now you're one who do a lot of events as well. I'm not sure how many This was a Juneteenth Black celebration. And you and I both, as we've been working on our entrepreneurial business here over the last few years, you've done a lot of pop-ups. I've attended a lot of your pop-ups. I've been involved with a lot of pop-ups as we both frequent in our we're heavily involved in the small business community. But to see something that's by and for Black people, it was interesting to see how the city, local parks and recreation, the BART transportation system had booths and were talking about whatever that they had for our people. So I don't know if you see that, you want to attend many more events than me. Are you familiar or aware with these types of situations?
Well, not really. Even myself, I'm not sure of what's available out there. I do make an effort to look, but it's just not always cut and dry.
Right.
There's not like a big neon sign that says, "Hey, we have resources for you, come here." So you have to really be diligent and look for these resources or programs that know about these resources. And even then, with the programs, you almost always have to apply to be a part of them. So
that's a fact.
Yeah, so that's a little drawback slightly. But when it comes to pop-up events, how it works is you attend one or two, and eventually the resources come to you. Someone knows something, other people know someone else, and then you start to see the same people at pop-up events. So over time, what would be advisable is that someone would take a notebook and keep track on everything they come across. Have a contact book for networking.
Mm-hmm.
Have a notebook to take down resources. And so this way, when these things come up, whenever they are relevant to you, and then you have a whole black book of resources and information at your fingertips. Now that's going to be the best way to access these opportunities, as opposed to just looking in some random directory trying to find some random information you don't know exists.
That's some good information, and that's pretty smart right there. That's actually pretty smart. The Green Book. I don't know if you remember that movie. It's a black movie called The Green Book, where Black people know, I don't know, you got to check it out, about where they can go to connect with other Black establishments, businesses. This is during the days of Jim Crow. It's something called The Green Book. It's a movie called
I have to watch that myself.
Yeah, there's a movie about anyway, I don't want to get into what that movie's about, but it's really interesting. And there was something that was actually out back in the day. I think pretty sure it was called The Green Book, where Black people who were traveling down south or in certain areas where we weren't allowed, there was a green book to let you know what restaurants you can go to, what hotels or establishments you can stay in overnight, where to dodge what people
racism,
what people refer to it as racism. So that's interesting. Now, and myself, I think you are too. I'm definitely a part of the Black Business Directory. One of our businesses are part of the Black Business Directory here in the Bay Area. Even when I finally got, which to be honest with you, even when I got your assistance, after 3 years of trying to get a grant from 2020 to 2023, couldn't get denied a PPP loan and a bunch of other different money. I tried to reach out and get grants with your assistance. I finally got my first grant ever in life in 2023. And some of that grant money had to be spent on improving your business website. And it was actually from a Black program. And when I went to go find a Black person, because you could have used anybody to help build the website, I was really grateful to be in that program with your assistance. And you could have spent the money to bring anybody that qualified, had a business license to fix your website. But I was just like, man, I'm getting this program from a black program that's for black people. So I have to find a black person to build my website. And I was really busy doing business at that time. But at the very last minute, I made sure to, and I said, man, I just really almost want to find anybody just to get it done. But I said, no, I have to. So I actually looked through the Black Business Directory, found a black business owner who was in the directory, and boom, we made it happen with some of those resources. So I definitely encourage you guys out there to get in the Black Business Directory if you're not in one as a small business owner. Now, another thing that was interesting, I actually, of course, I posted on my social media this week about another um, black business who had a booth at this event. I bought a sun visor. It was expensive, but it was well worth it. I'll never go to a black event if I have the money in my pocket to go purchase a couple of items to support, which I did. And I took a picture with the brother in his company, put it on my social media, uh, and and I found myself with the couple of booths that I went by as I was with a cousin of mine, and we were going to various booths. I found myself kind of telling everybody and asking them, just kind of picking other business owners. Hey, do you guys have a brick and mortar? Are you registered? Are you connected with any of the resources here in your city or anywhere? A lot of the people I talked to weren't necessarily familiar with all the resources that were there available to them that they could use. And I found myself telling them, hey, you may want to consider this, you may want to consider that, you may want to look into this, you may want to look into that. Hey, let's like it, let's connect with each other on social media. And they was like, oh, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. And we ended up exchanging a lot of information and connected on social media. But I just noticed that, a lot of people that had booths were not necessary, and they were looking to one lady who had a great food restaurant was looking to get established in a brick and mortar here by the end of the summer, and another guy was like he was just still working out of the tent, doing the pop-ups. So I was just kind of telling them they may want to consider looking around in various resources. We're in Northern California, the Bay Area. And I tell everybody this, even some people I mentor out there as far as young entrepreneurs, man, this is not what they call a third world country. This is America. And there's lots of resources that are here for you to help you as you try to grow your small business, especially for us here on this Juneteenth weekend. Man, I was really inspired to tell them, hey, look for the extra resources. Look for the extra resources that's out here for you. Don't just, because it's almost painful to see, like, nope, I just got a booth. I'm just trying to do my own thing. Like, just you against the world, huh? And I'm like, ugh. It's kind of like, no, get out here and get some of these resources that's out here for you. Get the support. Go start connecting with certain networks, as you and I are part of many networks of great people, established networks that are assisting us, and we're working together with these networks. Usually these networks that are for small businesses, that are for Black, minority, women, and all these other type of groups, usually they tend to have a lot of great people that work for them. And if you listen to our podcast, as right now we're recording on our audio podcast and we're live on YouTube, there, and I preach this a lot on my platform, there's lots of great resources out there for you in this country. There's lots of great use. These establishments that have resources, they tend to hire great people. They tend to hire people that are passionate about working with whatever your group is for, entrepreneurs, women, Black, minority, and the other different groups that's out there. They tend to hire really good people that are very passionate about helping you grow your small business. So when I see us as a group that's not really necessarily connected with groups looking for the extra resources, I just stay preaching on that. Stay preaching on that. There's a couple of people I mentor out there, and they're doing really great, connecting with the extra resources and just taking a certain approach as opposed to just me against the world out here. Would you agree with that, Justin? So Jessica probably took a step away, but that's just something that I want to pass to you guys out there in AM Dynasty world on this Juneteenth weekend, is to uh, you know, as a group, we have to try to keep this dollar in our community for as much or as long as possible. As far as the groups that are out there, this is an election year, and for the entrepreneurs and business owners that are out there, when you're growing your business, especially if you're in America, especially if you're in California, especially if you're in Northern California, it's lots of resources out there. Utilize the resources, connect with certain groups, small business groups, and there's lots of information to be shared. There's lots of resources to be shared. I've learned that over the last 3 years, constantly trying to see. I'm not one to look for loans, but trying to see how I can get grants, trying to see how I can get. I know when we started um, one of our websites for one of our businesses, we got assistance through a small business group, the Renaissance Center, to build our website. And they actually built the website for free. It was a great startup website. All we had to do was pay for the actual website to get started up. Then, with Jessica's assistance, we got a grant. And after we got a grant, part of the stipulation by the Buy Black program. If you guys are out there and you're trying to start a black business, there's another great program. It's a nationwide program called the Buy Black program, BYBLACK program. I would suggest you guys kind of Google it, get on the email list, and try to connect with them if you're a black business where you can get assistance, and they assisted us with the grant that they had at that time, and we actually had to use some of the grant money to get a website built, and that's the program that assisted me. So in effect, I got my first website built for free, working with the group. I got my website built for free, working with another group, and got money for it. In essence, got paid to get the assistance. So that's kind of, since I experienced that, that's the information I try to pass on, especially to others that look just like me and that's trying to work and grow their business. And I've noticed after looking around, that's something that I noticed from this weekend. When I went to this Black Business Juneteenth celebration, a lot of Black businesses, they kind of take the approach of just kind of me against the world. And I got to be honest with you, the way I grew up, my dad was a big influence on me to have a certain perspective. He was college educated to always look for what I call the 40 acres and a mule. And what I mean by that is the resources that is owed to him, that's due to him, that's set aside money for our community. He's always been one to advocate to go look for all the things that are out there, the resources that are out there for you. No one's going to knock on your door and give it to you, but just know that there is resources out there for you. Go look to see what that is and then go get it. So when I stepped into business, that's something that I always tried to go do, is to make sure that I go try to look for those resources that are out there for myself. You know, especially being a brother starting a business. Um, you might not have enough resources out there that you would prefer, but there's going to be something out there for you. And the more that you look for, the more resources there's going to be. Mentoring a lot of other business owners, one thing that I always advocate and tell people to do is the SBA has a lot of resources. Again, I've talked about this on my podcast. The SBA has a lot of resources for, I have family that's back east, not in California. They say, cousin, I don't got as many resources as you. You're out there in California with all the resources. Guess what? There's resources here. This is America. And there's resources that are nationwide. Every city, state has it. And that's through the SBA, Small Business Administration, the SBDC, Small Business Development Center. They have mentors, and they have just lots of programs. The Inclusivity Project, I signed up for what's called the Inclusivity Project through the SBDC when they first started, like in 2021, headed by a guy named Chris Horton, who's doing a great job of making sure that there's resources in this SBA funded Black program, and including where you can take your small business to get um, business bank accounts. They help you with getting loans and things of that nature. I think Chase Bank is involved with it. I think another bank that's involved is Tri Counties Bank. They're involved with assisting Black businesses. At least they were as of last year. Wells Fargo has set aside money to help Black businesses, and then there's other businesses out there too that help, that have programs to assist Black minorities and other type of groups. Actually, Chase Bank, I was in a webinar this last week where Chase Bank was talking about how they had some set aside money, or some assistance and resources for minority businesses. So yeah, on this Juneteenth weekend, like I said, I was having a great time, and I just wanted to kind of share my experiences on this very brief podcast to constantly remind people as we round up this Juneteenth weekend of events, and it just was such a great vibe, networking and doing business with other Black people that are out there trying to strive and do their own thing, be entrepreneurs. What was interesting, I guess you could say, is I saw people who had booths who are trying to grow their businesses, and right next to them is other city parks and recreation, transportation systems, and actually the city of Hayward, and also Hayward um, congressperson was there, or at least had a booth there. These are all resources. Hey, what are you going to do for me for my vote? What are you guys doing for us as a constituency? This is the perfect time to ask those questions, to get that information, and to access what's out there for you. And that's something I want to take this Juneteenth and this summer, uh, while there's all the reparation talk, and next year and going forward. When you're at Black events and you see the city, county, state, wherever that's represented in these events that you're going to, always remember to ask and look for these booths that are there from uh, the city, or the city, county, the state, your congressperson, if he has a booth, assembly people that have a booth, your public works and transportation department, if they have a booth, even the police department, if they have a booth. All these booths at events that are by and for Black people, if they have a booth, then they're there to tell you about the resources that they have for you. So I want to make sure that you kind of understand that. I'm not sure who out there doesn't know that. It's something that just kind of dawned on me this year around going to these events, because I'm walking right up to the booth and I'm asking them, being very direct with, hey, I'm a small business owner. What do you guys have for us? You know what I mean? As a brother. And they're gonna have answers. If they didn't have answers, they wouldn't even put a booth up there. They're gonna know exactly where you're coming from, and they're gonna give you the skinny on what they have for you. You can take your notes and keep pushing forward to try to access that information. So with that, I don't really have much more to say. I wanted to make sure this M Dynasty, the podcast, is very brief, to the point, and just here on this Sunday night, I wanted to express and articulate how my weekend went. I enjoyed being a part of the Black this weekend's Juneteenth celebration. Had a great time. Spent some money with some Black people, networked with some Black people, and just overall had a good time and learned a couple of things. And so I wanted to share that with you. You there? You there, Jessica?
I'm here.
All right, all right. So, tell me what you think about that in closing, or what you have to say as we get ready to round it out. I pretty much got off my chest what I wanted to get out there, get out for the people. What you got to say about it? What you think about it?
Well, everything you said is completely correct. I will like to add that I have been at pop-up events and I have ignored the booths where you see the cops or firefighters.
Right.
I just never,
Yeah.
it never crossed my mind that they would have resources for me. I always assumed they were there to promote their organization. hey, would you like an application to be a police officer or a firefighter? I just never think like, hey, do you have anything for Black business? Just never occurred to me. So I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, okay, yes, Koo is right. I need to probably rethink how I navigate these events at all. So that was something I took from this conversation.
You know, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this podcast. Hey, let me tell you straight up, as you already know,
Yes.
I've been on the grind for the last 3 years, the hardcore grind. I work 7 days a week for the most part, you know, and I definitely have not been taking as many breaks as I probably should have up to this point. So to be able to kind of like I said, I've been working hard. I've been stay at home sheltering for a good many years now. So to be able to kind of take that break and kind of stepping outside the bubble, the average everyday bubble that I go through, and actually hitting up this event, being around from so many people. Nobody's got very few people have face masks on, and we're out here at the park, and I mean it's hot. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, man, let me go ahead and buy this sun visor from this Black business right here. Uh, it dawned on me for the first time because 3 years later, I'm in a whole different space. What is this? 2019 was the last permanent job that I had. I had a job for 5 years, and that's the longest, of course, I've ever had a job. I've always been one who kind of firmly believe in working for yourself. But this time around, these last few years, I've learned so much to start, run, and have a legitimate successful business to this point, and I'm still learning every day. To step into that Black Juneteenth event with so many Black people and people, like-minded people, business owners, and as much as you and I and me, I've been working really hard to access and look for it since the beginning of the pandemic, 2020. Been looking for all the resources I can get, minus a loan that I can get to assist me. So to step into this event and I actually see it just dawned on me because I've been going to everybody, what you got for me? What you got for us? What you got for me? What you got for us? Black business owner. So to step into this event, that's my first nature. That's my first mind, especially when I go to other booths and see people that look like us and they're like, it's just me. And it's once again, I know so many people, I mentor people now, surprisingly, and I just me against the world. I'm like, no, because I've not done that. It's not just me against the world. I've connected with great groups that have great organizations that have excellent first class people working for them. And I mean, excellent professionals, people who know their stuff. And they have really helped us. Definitely have not gotten where I'm at right now by myself. And so, the same way somebody put a birdie in my ear, it's my duty to do the same. I've had multiple Black people on my way to becoming an award winning entrepreneur. It was another brother. It's been many people that's like, hey, man, I'm here, brothers. I'm here to help you, which means so much to me, and just sharing knowledge, sharing game. The information I've learned from you, like I was just telling the audience out there, I got my first grant with your assistance here last year. So when I step into this event, this is a format that I'm not haven't necessarily been in as far as an event by and for Black people, you know, and it's the summertime, so everybody's feeling good. And I see all these the city of Hayward got a booth. The Hayward Congress person has a booth. Cities and recreation and parks, transportation. And I go there and I ask them, and of course they got all the answers. And the thing is, they were so informative, specifically talking to the transportation part, talking about how legislation has they helped pass. The person that was there representing was like, hey, I was actually one of the voters who voted to help pass some legislation to make sure that there's a certain amount of set aside money for small businesses like yourself so that the fat cats don't get all the big contracts. Those prime contractors, if they are primes, they have to there's some set aside money. They can't get the big contract unless they spend some of that money on subcontractors like yourself. He was naming off percentages. So we're here to make sure. I actually this weekend through that conversation, I learned about the Civil Rights Department of the transportation, which is the BART out here, which brought to mind. I said, oh, I learned a couple of things. You guys got a Civil Rights Department, so that's just like the utilities. Utilities. And this is good for wherever state you're in. If you're in wherever state you're in, they have a utilities department. That utilities more than likely have a civil rights department. Same with transportation. Same with all of these other areas. So that right there just okay. So I know how do I say this? There's set aside money. A lot of these, I'm a part of an organization that's connected with the BART station. It's called SBSS for those of you who don't know out there, and that's for so that small businesses like myself can get. California is building a massive expansion, high-speed rail up and down the state of California, so you can get up and down California really fast. I'm pretty sure a lot of the big states are doing this, and over the next 10 years, there's going to be a lot of money that's going down as they build this high-speed rail system, so you can get up and down the state really fast. Well, who's going to get the contracts to do all this work? You know who's going to pretty much get it? The fat cats. However, how much set aside money is going to be for small businesses, people that fit these other criteria, black, minority, and all the groups. It's going to be certain set aside money for all that. So you know that the way to get in there is to get in so they all have certain organizations, like the BART has the SBSS. Well, not just the SBSS is working in conjunction with what? The Civil Rights Department. So I just learned something. So if that's the like transportation, then I know that utilities have the same thing. And I know that all other areas of government have the same thing because I've already met with one through the utilities, the Civil Rights Department, that is. And I know that they have set aside money. So you see so now I'm learning more where business, commerce, and government come together and where you could put yourself in position to not just do a me against the world thing, but go compete for set aside money. And that's a big part of the message on this Juneteenth weekend that I want to get out there for other aspiring entrepreneurs, people who are already doing it, people who are learning how to do it, people who have an interest in learning how to do it. I don't like to see us just saying, hey, I'm going to try to do it and just me against the world. Me and the rest of the free, hey, man, go put yourself in position to go get additional resources, whether it be money, cash money funding, mentorship, assistance with websites, supplies and equipment, or whatever else is out there. So, anything else you want to say, Jessica, before we get out of here, real quick? I appreciate you for your input on this podcast as we try to continue to educate one another and spread just the message of entrepreneurialism and good business and on this Juneteenth weekend, keeping the dollar in our community as much as we can. Anything else you got to say?
Well, I think I should be appreciated for my patience as well.
You've been listening to me. I've been going on and on.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't really have anything else to add. Nothing else to add. You said everything that I think I would have brought up.
So when you go to future events,
yes,
you will, and you see other booths of, San Mateo County Fair, or go to the county fair, going to different pop-ups where you see certain city, county, state, municipalities there represented with booths. What would be your perspective? Would you go address them as a small business owner? Would you address them to see what they got for you and your kind, or what do you think about that?
Well, actually, what I was sitting here thinking was, because I'm a small business owner myself, I have resources. I actually have, now that I sit here and think about it, I probably have access to a lot more resources than I give myself credit for. So I think what my plan is I want to create a mini booklet. And that's just going to be 2 or 3 pages of stapled pages. And whenever I see a fellow business owner who's out doing it on their own, I'll just give them a photocopy of the resources with my business card attached to it. And I think that would be the most effective thing that I can do to help other small businesses. Now, when it comes to going to events, yeah, of course, if I see someone, I'm gonna stop and talk to them like I've always have. But that's all I've done. I've seen small business owners, and I'm like, hey, have you heard of the Renaissance program? It's a local program. They help small businesses start and grow. Have you heard of them? The answer is usually no.
Right.
So I've hooked up several small businesses with the Renaissance. But now, after talking to you, I think what my goal is, I'll just have like a little pamphlet to go around and give out to people for free.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, that's going to be my thing now.
Excellent. I think that's an excellent idea. Like I said, I learned something this weekend too. So now, and summer's just really getting kicked in. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot more events, and just going forward. Um, just same way I've learned how to tighten my approach to get new clients, various clients in business. You go over your spiel over and over and over and over and over again, where it becomes a part of your nature. So I think I'm going to have pretty much tighten up my spiel when I'm looking for, like I said, I'm definitely all about the resources. That's at least understanding better about the resources that's available to me in this space, especially as it pertains to government and small business. So yeah, with that, we appreciate you joining us again for another AM Dynasty, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining. And that's it. We had a great Juneteenth weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. I had an excellent time. Another great weather, California, lovely day, and a Juneteenth celebration to remember. So, and on that day, it was beautiful to see that the dollar stay in our community real strong, even if it was just for that moment. It was just a lot of power in that moment. And I really appreciated that, loved that, and said, man, we're gonna have to continue that. We're gonna have to build on that. Just that feeling, that energy that created. You could feel it, the love and this man, so many brothers out there, sisters out there, everybody walking past each other. What's happening, brother? What's happening, sister? How you doing? The vibes was just so great. I love that. Like I live for that. That's just it's no greater feeling in the world. You know what I mean? It's no greater feeling in the world. Just kind of like us just loving on one another and having a good time in the sun. Like it's just priceless. It's just priceless. So yeah, with that, hopefully I can catch you at the next one. Like I said, I know it's gonna be a lot of events here in the future. And by the way, for those out there listening, make sure to spend some money with Jessica and her company. Jessica, before we get out of here, tell the people a little bit about your company and what you offer and where they can find you at. Speaking of Black businesses and entrepreneurs.
Well, I try not to brag.
Go ahead and brag. Speak on yourself.
No, so we at Embrace, we manufacture and sell hair and body products. So one jar is good to soften, moisturize the hair. It promotes growth. And that same jar is good for your skin, for skin benefits or skin issues. So, for example, we have one product that is great for acne, eczema, and psoriasis. And we have another product that's completely awesome for reducing stretch marks and scars. Nice. So, if you happen to be interested, you have dry skin, you want to moisturize your hair, you want to moisturize that beard, your back hair. Get the back hair all soft and moisturized.
Your knuckle hair.
Right?
Knuckle chrome.
There you go. Those sideburns and those uniburns. Okay. Anyway,
Let's stop there.
All right. Our website is embracehaircare.com. www.embracehaircare.com. So you just check out a little, browse a few items, check out something, and if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me on my website.
Absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, congratulations on your recent award. If you want to tell the people out there as your business continues to grow, what award is it that you won? Or and tell the people about your recent award.
Well, thank you for reminding me. Back in April, we just became Green Business Certified, which that means that our business practices. Yeah.
What does it mean?
So, I'm sorry.
What does that mean again? Green.
So what it means is that our business practices are green. So we use sustainable packaging. We make an effort to be good to the environment on the back end of the company. So we're not dumping our oils. We're not destroying the environment while we're being entrepreneurs. So I got a Green Business Award for that back in April. And recently, just a couple of weeks ago, I just became women and minority owned.
Hey, very nice, very nice.
So that's 3 certifications total.
Wow. You're doing big things. Congrats, congrats, congrats. So, with that, tell the people where they can find you if you like on social media and say that website one more time as well.
Well, our website is embracehaircare.com. And if you happen to be on Instagram, our Instagram is embrace_love thyself. Embrace_love thyself.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks for joining me on this podcast on this late weekend Sunday evening. Now, with that, we're gonna shut it down. Get back to work again tomorrow, and appreciate you guys for joining us for this AM Dynasty the podcast. This is the first time ever we're actually going live on YouTube with the podcast. Usually, we do the podcast on several audio streaming platforms, including Spotify, Google Radio, just a whole host of other ones. This time we're going live on YouTube as well as doing the podcast on our audio platforms. So you can catch us all over the place on the audio platforms. You can catch us on YouTube, Patreon, fan base, and a host of other websites. So again, thanks for joining us, guys, on this AM Dynasty, the podcast. And we'll be back here soon with another presentation for you guys as we keep on getting through this very hot, hot, hot summer. And Jessica, thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next one, guys. AM Dynasty. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you on the next one.